Yeah, Joe, how you doing? I wanted to ask you, I don't think anybody's asked you what you thought about the rally in Cincinnati on Monday night. Did it surprise you that, it's about 14 degrees and you had that many people out there? What was going through your mind? And what was going through your mind when they were chanting MVP?
It was exciting to see all the fans and how excited they were for us. We play for them at the end of the day. We want to make the fans proud as well as ourselves. But so it's always fun when you see the fans as invested in this team as you are.
James, Sports Illustrated.
Hey, Joe. Last week I asked you if it felt like how the week felt in the preparation and everything, and you said it felt like a normal week. I'm sure it's a little different now that you're in Los Angeles. How is the preparation going, and how does it feel a few days ahead of the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's a little different now that we're out here. It's a little tougher to eliminate all the distractions, but I think, our guys are doing a pretty good job of that. We haven't had any practice yet, so I'm excited to get out to practice today. We just finished up our first walkthrough, so I think once we get into the practice schedule, normal game week, I think it'll be easier.
Patrick Crowley, Sky Sports.
Hi, Joe. I was wondering, you were only a teenager when Stafford got drafted, and I was wondering what are your memories of watching him as you play as you grew up, and also what it means to be playing in the Super Bowl at such a young age.
Well, I always really enjoyed watching him. My most vivid memories are, the Lions always played on Thanksgiving, so I always got to see him play, with my family all around, sitting down and watching football on Thanksgiving Day. And I always thought, he didn't always get the credit that he deserved for what he was doing. He's been one of the best players in this league his entire career, and it's just because they didn't have the team success in the playoffs, I think, kind of overshadowed what he was doing as a player.
Shane, ESPN.
Hey, Joe, thanks for taking this. I know you just finished saying that you guys haven't really been on the practice field yet, so you can't really talk too much about how game situation is going to feel and get going out there. But I have a two-part question real quick is, what would you tell some of these young up-and-comers coming in from the draft that have seen you, now in the Super Bowl 2 years in here, and their expectations? What kind of things would you be letting them know and saying as you enter the draft, as you get to your teams, what can they sort of expect? What should they be looking at and maybe trusting the process with their teams and stuff like that? So what kind of small advice would you give some of these young guys that are going to be coming in soon?
Yeah, I would say, when you get into the league, a lot of different things can happen. You get a lot of money and people start reaching out to you a little more and they want you to do a bunch of different things. And, I think the young guys that find success are able to, eliminate all those distractions and, just focus on what got you to this point, and that was playing football. And then, as this is only my second year, but I think the older guys, when they see a young guy come in who's all about his business and not doing all that other stuff, I think that really helps them in the locker room as well as on the field.
Ariana Carlota.
Hey, Joe, this is Ariana from Telemundo. You mentioned that you've been a second half team all year long, and obviously that has worked in the past. And even though I know coaches and everyone is trying to treat this as a regular game, at the end of the day, you're not going to know if it's the same until you step on that field, right? So my question to you is, do you think a comeback approach will be ultimately what wins this game, or will you treat it somewhat differently from the very beginning, knowing what's at stake?
Yeah, well, we'd like to start out fast, when they have a really good pass rush. So when they know the team's dropping back and throwing the ball, they can kind of tee off. So we want to get out to a strong start. But, whatever the game calls for us, for us to win, we're going to go out and do. If we get behind early, we're not going to panic. So, maybe a comeback is going to be necessary, but, we'd like to jump out early and kind of control the game.
Jared Larson.
Hey, Joe. From one Ames native to another, congratulations on making it to the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
And if you would have stayed here, we would have gone to Ames High together. Anyway, you could be the second person ever to be born in Ames, win a national title with an SEC team, and then win it all. What are your thoughts on that? And what's your take on Ames tap water, if you remember it at all?
Well, who could the other person be?
Terry Hoagie. He
Okay.
won it with the Washington football team.
Okay. I barely remember Ames. I was just, we moved away when I was 4 years old, so I don't remember much about the tap water. Only thing I remember about Ames is the big pillar in my basement. We had a little tyke basketball hoop down there, so that's about all I remember.
Thank you, Joe.
James Palmer.
Hey, Joe, Brian Callahan's talked a lot about you guys and your ability to be flexible and adjust within a game. Obviously, you have a game plan. Don't give anything away. But how quickly do you go through that in a game and find a way to change it? Can you take me through the process of what you do on the sideline when you start seeing how the defense is playing you? You're probably going to have to do that Sunday.
Yeah, our coaches do a great job and they have all year of adjusting in game. Teams have played us differently than they have all the other teams because I think we have really good receivers on the outside and, we're deeper at that position than most people in the league. And so teams have to play us a little differently. So we have our game plan going in, and then our coaches do a great job of adjusting and pulling plays from past game plans that they think can be effective throughout that game.
Thanks, Joe.
Joey, Yahoo Sports.
Hey, Joe, 2003 Athens High grad here. Spent plenty of 7 a.m.s in Mr. Lollick's room. It's awesome to see the success you're having.
Thank you.
You've spoken about how tough the 2014 state title game outcome back at Athens was on you. What impact does that game continue to have on you and your competitive fire, which certainly seems to have helped you out at LSU and now in Cincinnati?
Oh, man, I think about that game all the time. We were so close and playing with a group of friends our entire childhood up to that point. It was kind of a culmination of a lot of hard work and time that we had put in together, and we just didn't get the job done. So I still think about that one all the time. I plan on winning a Super Bowl eventually. If it's, we plan on doing it this week. If it's not this week, we plan on doing it eventually. And, that state championship in high school is going to be one that eluded me.
Thanks. Good luck.
Nick Hamilton.
Hey, Joe, congratulations on making it this far. Wanted to ask you, just you coming off your injury, obviously the criticism that Jamar Chase had faced early in obviously the preseason and before that, how you all bonded together to be able to create what you produced on the field as well as off the field that got you to this point playing in Super Bowl 56.
Yeah, I think, part of every good team is having great people in the locker room that can really bind a team together. Everyone has great players in this league at the top, everyone has somebody, and it's pretty even. I think what separates teams at the top is the trust and the relationships that you build in that locker room that'll end up carrying out onto the field. And we have great people like that work really hard to build those relationships within the organization.
Rachel, NFL Canada.
Hi, Joe. I'm Rachel from NFL Canada. We know that your dad played here for a little while, so we were just kind of wondering what your favorite thing is about Canada and if he's told you anything about it here.
Well, I've never been up there. I would like to go someday, but he's, he would tell me stories of the Grey Cups up there, and my brother was actually born in Canada, so I'd like to go up there someday. Never been, but I plan on going eventually.
Aditi, NFL Network.
Hey, Joe, Jamar talks so much about how you're the one that taught him how to prepare and read defenses and figure out soft spots and zones and things like that. Can you take us back through that process, what that was like, what kind of a learner he is? And he also said that you talk a lot more today than you did when he first met you. Is that true?
Well, when we first met each other, I was getting ready to make my first season as a starting quarterback. I hadn't played in a while, so I wasn't quite as comfortable even in my first year as my second year at LSU. So I was, a lot more vocal going into that second year, and I kind of knew how I wanted him to run routes, and he knew how he wanted the ball to be thrown. And we have a really good dialogue in that way to communicate in a positive way. It's not like he's coming to the sideline and yelling at me to give him the ball, but if he sees something, he's going to come over and let me know, and then that's going to translate onto the field. And Jamar's the kind of guy that if you tell him something on the first rep, he's going to do it the next rep. You're not going to have to tell him over and over again. He's a great player and a great learner in that way.
Anthony, Vox Media.
Hey, Joe, congrats on a great season. I wanted to ask you, I'm a SoCal guy myself, and I know you participated in Jordan Palmer's workouts and QB Summit early in the pre-draft process. What was the impact of that, not only from mechanic standpoint and all of that, but also just him giving you insight on the Bengals organization, et cetera?
Yeah, he helped me a lot this offseason. We really took a look at my throwing motion and my mechanics because I was able to start from the ground up with my injury. And so we really took a deep dive into that, and he helped me a lot. And, another big part when I was, going into my last year at LSU and then going into the NFL my first year is I was able to work out with Sam Darnold and Josh Allen, guys who were doing it at the highest level. And, that helped me understand that, I was capable of doing it as well.
Last one, Oliver, Talk Sport.
Hi, Joe. I just wanted to know what the differences and similarities are at the moment between the experience of the national championship preparation and getting ready for a Super Bowl, and if perhaps that's beneficial, the fact that national championship was only a couple of years ago, into your preparation coming into this big game.
Yeah, it's a similar feeling. I would say the Super Bowl, we're here longer. I think we left for, I guess the national title was in New Orleans, so we didn't have to go super far, but here we're probably here a little bit longer. I would say the feeling in the locker room is very similar. We have, like I said before, it's all about the relationships that you build within the locker room that carry over onto the field. And it's all about trust and understanding that the guys on the opposite side of the ball are going to do their jobs just like they expect you to do your jobs. And that starts in the locker room, and those locker room relationships feel very similar from 2 years ago.
All right, that's everything from us. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.